Le Corbusier. He called crooked medieval streets a disease and drew city plans that wiped them out for towers in parks and highways. His radiant city model, copied on many post-war housing estates, replaced mixed streets with windswept lawns that soon felt unsafe. He proposed bulldozing half of Paris into glass slabs and briefly praised fascist order in the 1930s. Schools still teach his 5 points of design: pilotis, open plans, ribbon windows, free facades, roof gardens, crediting him with clear light and air rules, yet critics say his top-down vision fed car dependence and trapped generations in isolated concrete blocks. Philip Johnson. At 26, he co-curated MoMA's 1932 International Style Show. In the same decade, he attended Nazi rallies and published essays praising fascism, an involvement that shadowed his career. After World War II, he built the ultra-minimal glass house. Then, in the 1980s, switched again with the pink granite AT&T Tower that launched postmodernism's corporate wave. His towers often displaced rows of small shops for marble lobbies and private plazas, fueling gentrification claims. Critics say he chased popular styles and lucrative clients instead of steady principles. Supporters still value his knack for spotting cultural shifts and keeping architecture in the headlines for more than 60 years. Albert Speer. As Hitler's chief architect, he designed huge stone arenas, towering columns, and a dome meant to seat 180,000 people. Building crews came from occupied countries and concentration camps. Thousands died on the job. His grand Germania plan would have bulldozed most of Berlin for a parade route 3 kilometers long, and buildings scaled to intimidate. At the 1946 Nuremberg trials, he was sentenced to 20 years for using slave labor. After prison, he released best-selling memoirs claiming he had no idea mass murder was taking place, a story historians reject as an attempt to clean up his image. Ethics classes still cite him to show how impressive drawings can become tools for brutal power, not public good. Frank Gehry. His flowing titanium Guggenheim turned Bilbao into a travel hotspot, proving a single building can lift a city's economy. The flip side is cost and maintenance. Disney Concert Hall needed its mirror-bright panels dulled after stray sunlight overheated nearby flats. MIT filed suit over leaks and dangerous ice buildup at the Stata Center. Critics argue Gehry starts with eye-catching shells and solves practical details later, creating windy, underused plazas. Admirers reply that high-impact form draws culture, jobs, and global press a plain box cannot. When reporters pressed him on budgets, he once answered with a raised middle finger, fuel for both his legend and his critics. Zaha Hadid. Advanced computer modeling let her stretch concrete and steel into sweeping, column-free halls such as London's Aquatic Centre and Baku's Heydar Aliyev Centre, but the dramatic shapes carried heavy price tags and large carbon footprints. Her design for Tokyo's Olympic Stadium won the bid, then was cancelled when projected costs doubled. In 2014, a journalist asked about migrant deaths on Qatar's World Cup sites. Hadid replied that site safety rests with contractors and government, not the architect. Public outrage followed, and she issued a statement saying any worker death is unacceptable. When a magazine later wrote that hundreds had died on a project bearing her name, she sued. The publication apologized and paid a settlement. Admirers hail her as the first female Pritzker winner and a pioneer of digital form, while critics argue that social equity and sustainability lagged behind the spectacle. Santiago Calatrava. Engineer turned architect, Calatrava builds white bridges and stations that mimic bird skeletons, giving cities instant postcard images, but also steep repair bills. In Valencia, the City of Arts began shedding ceramic tiles only a few years after opening. Bilbao's Zubizurri footbridge lost glass deck panels, and the city filed suit for damages. Venice's Constitution Bridge gets dangerously slick each winter and still lacks wheelchair access. New York's World Trade Center Oculus arrived years late and billions over budget. Fans say bold engineering always faces early setbacks, and that the completed structures lift civic pride for generations. Critics reply that public money should secure reliability first, and that custom glass and polished steel drain maintenance budgets for decades, making Calatrava's work as famous for court cases as for its soaring forms. Rem Koolhaas. Koolhaas argues that architects should track real market forces, not chase nostalgia, a view he sets out in long essays on shopping malls and the generic city. He works for a wide client mix, from Prada to the Chinese state broadcaster. The result in Beijing is the CCTV headquarters, a giant leaning loop, praised for engineering, daring but criticized for helping a state media machine. Interiors such as the tilted floors in Seattle's Central Library delight tourists and puzzle some regular users. He says buildings are neutral backdrops, not moral lessons, which irritates critics who want clearer values. Supporters prize his deep research and readiness to confront messy realities, while detractors call him brilliant yet politically slippery and user-unfriendly. Peter Eisenman. Eisenman treats every job like a math problem. He shifts grids, cuts volumes, and bends corridors so visitors feel slightly lost on purpose. The results can be rough in daily use. House 6 leaked so badly the owners kept buckets under the roof. Ohio State's Wexner Center needed multi-million-dollar repairs less than 10 years after it opened. His best-known work, Berlin's Holocaust Memorial, sets out 2,710 gray concrete blocks. Millions visit, but some say the cool, abstract field feels distant, and skateboarders damage edges. Eisenman openly ranks day-to-day function below theoretical progress. Fans claim design must test limits the way science does. Critics counter that taxpayers should not bankroll buildings that ignore comfort, maintenance, and clear wayfinding. Bjarke Ingels. Ingels markets architecture as a mix of fun, high density, and green tech. His Copenhagen plant burns waste, but adds a ski slope and climbing wall. New York's Via 57 West leans like a pyramid to create a courtyard tower. Google's planned California campus was billed as a solar glass greenhouse. Supporters say such hybrids make sustainability attractive to the public. Controversy follows the pace. Former staffers have filed complaints about chronic unpaid overtime. Climate analysts argue his carbon figures rely on future offsets rather than proven cuts, and watchdogs note projects for Gulf oil monarchies clash with his eco-branding. He even sketched a concept for Donald Trump's border wall, sparking political backlash. Admirers call him the approachable face of dense, mixed-use cities. Critics say persuasive graphics can hide tough emission math and blurred ethics. Daniel Libeskind. Daniel turns history into angular space. The Jewish Museum Berlin uses empty voids to mark what was lost during the Holocaust, while the Denver Art Museum expansion pushes sharp shards into the sky to jolt visitors awake. In 2002, he won the Ground Zero Master Plan, but budget and politics stripped out most of his ideas, leaving him more mascot than decision-maker. His crystal-shaped addition to Toronto's Royal Ontario Museum leaked, ran far over budget, and sacrificed usable floor area, frustrating staff and donors. Admirers say his fractured forms make people feel hard stories. Critics counter that steep angles drive up construction, complicate exhibitions, and saddle museums with high maintenance for decades. His career spotlights the trade-off between emotional storytelling and practical performance. Thanks for watching. Do you think the criticism of these architects is fair? Tell me in the comments. Also, remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more.